Okay, now everything's better. Everything's better. Happy Easter. Trying to get a lot of fun things for the show to start off with, and all right, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. I want to say, hey, everybody, it is our Lord and Savior's Day of Resurrection. I hope everybody has a great day with their family. You're in Grillo's Aftershock XL, and there's no comments coming through. What do you know about that? You see comments up there? Show comments. Hi, comments will appear. I am broadcasting. Am I broadcasting live on your phone there, buddy? Beer guy?
No, it's gone. Oh, here it is. No, it ended.
Oh, you just started. Okay. Already a fine mess. You're right. I am a total mess. This sucks. What are you going to do? But I got a big guest here. You're going to enjoy it. I had to stop one because and start it up again. You need an intro. I do. I have an intro. I think I'm going to play it for you. This is one of my favorite bits on the Howard Stern show. And I'm not going to play the bad one. I'm going to play the good one. This is...
According to the supermarket tabloids, Frank Sinatra has Alzheimer's, but it hasn't slowed him down. Frank's new album, I Remember What's Her Name, is available to you now. Hear Frank attempt these great hits.
Luck be an egg cream tonight.
It's the new Frank.
Love and tractors, I've got you under my house. How does it go? I know how it goes. Start the music again, please.
Old Blue Eyes has gone blank.
Chicago, it's a wonderful band.
Old Emptyhead sings My Funny Valentine.
My funny turpentine, sweet comic Frankenstein.
Hear My Kind of Town.
My kind of town, Galveston is my kind of town.
Yeah, I know it's not an intro, Ryan. I just wanted to play some Billy West before we got him on here. He's coming on in 10 minutes. The Super Tips is up. It's pinned. And Nasty Meal is in the house. What's up, Nasty? And Gary Thomas. I'm going to keep all the Super Tips till a little bit later. And Billy is an underrated talent. I don't understand how he's underrated because he is he's still producing extremely amazing content, and he is just one of the nicest people on the planet, at least to me. But we know Billy as far as Ren and Stimpy, Marge Schott, Frank Sinatra, the Red M&M, everybody on Futurama, Doug, Bugs Bunny, for fuck's sake. Billy West is coming in. He's going to answer your answers on Super Tips. So if you want a question for Billy, Super Tips is the way to go. And the rumor was that Monique from Radio Gunk was going to be on with you tonight. Well, she didn't realize it was Easter. So but I think Monique will be on some point this week. Tomorrow I have Vic Legina coming on to hang out with you guys, answering all your porno questions. Vic Legina was a big porn director for a long time, and he's a huge Stern fan. And he is going to come on tomorrow live in the studio with me, and he's going to talk porn and Howard Stern and Stuttering John. I think he has a couple of good Stuttering John stories for everybody. And he doesn't get enough credit. I could go with that, but you know what? That's when you get into voice acting. There is no credit because you're not in front of the camera. You're anonymous, so to speak, behind the camera. And can you? Yeah, all right. It's going to be pinned. It was pinned. Now it's not pinned, but it's going to be pinned right now. My Super Tips is coming up. I also finally reached 3,000 hours. I have to go and take out an account on my YouTube so I can do Super Chats and Super Tips. The only knows how to put it in the chat. I did put it in the chat. I had to bail out on the first recording and then start another one because I didn't realize I had YouTube open up in another link. So, and did you got it? All right, it should be pinned, everybody. So we got that going on.
Got it up, but it's not pinning though. Go to channel.
Okay. I don't want to go through that again. But the link is broken, Jerry. It's broken.
Supertip.gg/Grillo/text.
So, does anybody know why it wouldn't pin on Super Tips on comments? It was not pinning at all, and so I got some really great stories with Billy. He said some really nice things, and I really want to thank him for coming on tonight because he really is he's the Mel Blanc of our age. If anybody doesn't know who Mel Blanc is, it's pretty bad. Mel Blanc was every voice on the. Ryan's already getting on you there, bud. If you go on here to my YouTube channel and do that, I'm wheezing a lot. Yeah, you know what? I think I had like an allergy attack about 20 minutes before I sat down and tried to get everything together. There's a lot of pollen. Everybody out here, like, we're a little ahead of the game as far as everything's in bloom. All the trees are bloomed. And, yeah, I could use a puff of, I don't know, that shit that comes in like the Primatine mist, which they don't make anymore. Cardio, cardio. No, I can't even walk up the stairs without getting winded. It's pretty bad. So, but anyway, I went to dinner tonight with a relative I haven't seen in a really long time. It was pretty nice. I hope everybody else got to see their family and friends on this glorious day of Jesus' resurrection. How come nobody resurrects anymore? I don't understand. Well, who are these people? Glorious day. Yeah, so they're why is Jerry there if he doesn't know how to do anything? Because he can fumble on that while instead of me fumbling while I'm on the air, someone else can fumble. And Super Tips is coming up. The day Shuli killed Jesus. Yeah, how we doing there?
I'm trying to find it. Don't know, man.
So anyway, Billy is the red M&M, which is a funny story I got to tell about that because how many people out there know who the yellow M&M is? There's a question right there. Throw that out because the yellow M&M is actually a huge actor. And a little trivia out there for anybody who's watching. Tonight. No, I don't. It was 132, Ryan, and I don't consider that a success because I really haven't mastered it yet by myself. I'm doing all this myself, and I am learning as we go along. And it was it wouldn't let me pin the Super Tip login because I don't know, but I did it on my computer. It didn't pin, but I did it on this computer. It did. What's up, Johnny Mars? How you doing? Let me see what's going on.
It won't pin.
It's not pinning? Okay, and we're gonna go out of here. And I'm gonna go into this one. Oh, come on, you motherfucker. What did you do, bro? I can't even get on my fucking... Oh, no. You did not do this.
No.
Where's...
You want to go back to the...
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Anyway, no, it's not a success because I haven't been able to... Billy's coming on. I said, give me 10 minutes just to get everybody in here. Peanut butter is in the house. Jerry is a double agent. Be careful. Yeah, okay. What's he doubling? What is he doing? Did you get out? What happened? How did that happen, dude? Where'd all my shit go?
You got to go back into Safari.
Oh, I'm not in Safari. That's the problem.
Google Chrome.
I'm in Google Chrome, and now all my shit's gone. Dude. Where's all my...
I got you.
So, Yeah, try to get that going, please. It was there. Hold on. If I go out of here, I'm gonna fuck everything up.
Don't go out of there.
It's pinned. Okay, next. There we go. It's pinned. Now, are you in super chats?
Nope, I'm getting there. Because nothing came through yet.
I know, but it was all.
I know, it was
I don't know how you got on that screen. All right, Billy.
It was easy at the top. I just clicked on YouTube.
Okay. Well, go back to the super chats.
That's what I'm trying to do. It won't pull up Chrome.
Call Google. All right. No, Billy's good. I told him to come on now. Tend to give me about 10 minutes, about 16 minutes in. But Jerry deleted my super tips.
I did not delete it. It was on.
But all you had to do was hit Chrome, and everything should have popped up.
Yeah, here. It's Chrome?
Yeah. Dude, it wasn't like that before. There we go.
Okay. Okay, across the top.
Right here.
We'll find it.
Super tips. Me. Dashboard.
Got it.
There. Oh my gosh. Warning, if you use super tips, Vegas Beer will be able to dox you to Stuttering John. I'm not worried about all that. Genocide beer sales, Jerry. So super tip is pinned. We are just waiting. If you want to ask Billy West any questions, what happened? We're going to talk about my time on the air with him and how he rose to fame right in front of my eyes.
You have a few here.
Oh, shit. Okay. Billy W. Come on. All right. We get a little Easter present for everybody that's been how usually conservative. Oh, Voltaire's here. Voltaire, are you a male or female? Am I not allowed to ask that? Yes, Howard Stern dedicated his book to me. And it was Miss America, that book. And it was one of the weirdest days of my life. It was a big honor for him to do that. It was sort of really kind of shocked. You know, it was a good question you could super tip Stuttering John. I'm going to give you one. Was he jealous that I got a book dedicated to him when he was there longer and put his life on the line a lot more than I did? Is it true you can't reach certain parts of it? No, everything is accessible on my body, Falcon, but that's a super tip question. John does have a super tip. Well, no, that's a good super chat. You could super chat, John, were you jealous when I got a book dedicated to me? Stop miking up super tips and super chats. Mixing. Oh, yeah. Why? Is that a big deal? It's the same way that you ask a question and pay for it, but could someone explain to me what the big deal like some people don't like that Milton guy and some people do? I know John has a problem with him. Yes, Big Black Newport, you win. J.K. Simmons is the yellow M&M. And that's something, not many people know that. And I do have a funny story because right when Oz came around and it became really popular, J.K. was a very good character actor, but he didn't reach the height of his fame that he is now. And if anybody remembers Oz and J.K.'s character in Oz, he played this evil white supremacist. And one of the guys that came into jail in the show, I guess he made him his property, and he burned his initials on the guy's ass to make him his property. And I was at a party at Billy West's house a long, long time ago, and I was just really everybody was talking about how great Oz is and how everybody, all these different characters, and J.K.'s character came up. I think his name was Schlesinger, and Schlesinger came up in a conversation, and we were like, that guy's evil. He's such a good actor. He's so evil in that show. And then I met Billy West, and who's at that party is J.K. Simmons, and that Billy was like, oh, you got to meet J.K. He's such a nice guy. Been here for 20 minutes. Hold on. Invite guest. Gmail. What's that? Okay. All right. We could do that. We'll do a couple of super tips right now. And so send it over. Okay. Anonymous Grill, if you turned on John the Dabbleverse would support you for a couple of weeks, then you'd be another dabbler. Be you. Be true to yourself. No need to turn. I like that. It's a $5 super tip from Anonymous. And Billy must have gotten the wrong link. And then another super tip coming through. Anonymous, do you think Richard and Howie were gay together? No, I don't. I don't think Howard likes penis, but the Ralph question was always the factor in whether Howard liked penis or not. Any super tip yet? Anonymous, Grillo, keep on going. Grillo, keep on keeping on. Thank you very much, Anonymous, for a $3 super tip. Just sent you another link. Invite guest. Try it one more time. Billy's having a little issue. Not just me, I swear. I have to invite him again. Yeah, I'm Kevin James's retarded brother. You got another super tip? All right, super tip me. Hold on, here we go. A lot of people come on Anonymous. Your face looks like a well-formed cake. You say that every single time, Anonymous. I don't understand. What are we learning? That Billy West is having an issue with his computer right now. And I keep inviting him, and he says he's in, but he's not. Sent. Message sent. Billy West is, top shelf liquor, everybody. Do another super tip. No, keep it up, Grillo. Your show where Richie was watched by everyone in the show. Dabbleverse, Stuttering John, Bob Levy, Brian McCarthy. Brian's supposed to be doing the show this week, too. Join my fucking pocket. What the hell is going on here? It's sending my email to me. Scott Salem leaked it, and he admitted it. Oh, my God. Invite guest. Try it with email. That's not going to work. It's bouncing back to me. Address not found. Okay. Billy's having a problem with his computer. And so am I. Yeah. Send. Okay.
Hello?
Hey, you're live on the air. Maybe we can figure this out.
Why doesn't it work? I told you this wouldn't work.
Oh, what?
No, I told you it wouldn't work. Every time I talk to somebody, I gotta download some new fucking technology, and no one ever knows how to use it. So I always use Zoom.
Oh, I gotcha. All right, well, you're live on the air. We could do
I
it.
knew it wasn't gonna work.
We could do it this way. People can hear you fine, no problem.
Like, okay.
So, phew, hey, there's a lot of people on here, and I have to give you a little heads up about what's going on. There is a thing called the Dabbleverse, and you'll appreciate this. It started out where basically it's people's hatred for Stuttering John has now branched out into about
you're kidding. There's an organization like that?
Yeah, yes, there is.
No, there can't be that many.
They're about 20,000 strong, Billy.
It was 2,000.
Oh, well, 2,000. It's called the Dabbleverse, and there are like several shows in this universe, and I would say 80% of them all just go on to bash Stuttering John or to pick apart anything he does as far as when he does his show. And these people are really voracious haters of Stuttering John. So this is basically, I have my own audience, but there's a lot of these other people in the Dabbleverse that are all watching today, and they're going to ask questions. But first of all, I wanted to say hi and thank you for coming on.
Oh, sure. I was all set up to come on there. I was going to talk to you and everything.
No, we're on right now. I have you on speaker.
Yeah, I had my microphone and I had my camera.
Yeah, I do. I keep inviting you to the.
Do you know if I called the police right now, if I called the cops, they wouldn't show up?
Oh yeah, is it that bad?
No, they're all out looking for guests for their podcasts.
Yo, yeah. Oh my God. So I don't.
Microphone. Everyone, once upon a time, nobody had a microphone, and now everyone has one and a show. It's Podcast, the movie.
Yeah, it was good in the beginning because there was only a couple of the podcasts out there, and now everybody's doing a podcast from their bathroom.
Yeah, I know.
So.
Oh well. It's still better than radio.
Yeah, well, that's why, I wanted to tell everybody the story about what you said to me, which was like, it blew me away because I remember every day you going, you were only there for 3 days a week, 3 days out of the week, and every day that you came on, you killed it, like hands down, killed it, and
nobody would tell me that though.
Yeah, but I guess I was the only one that told you that, and I remember also telling you about how big Ren and Stimpy was, and I don't think you understood the amount of people that were watching it in the very beginning. You seemed kind of surprised when I would tell you that everybody's wearing Ren and Stimpy shirts, everybody's watching it. My friends used to get together and watch Ren and Stimpy like for hours on end, just smoking grass and just watching Ren and Stimpy. And I remember telling you those things, but I said it kind of like innocently, not realizing that you were really you were really soaking it all in. And you didn't.
I just thought that, I'd be doing all these amazing things out in California, and I'd come home and I'd be just another guy named Joe when I walked into the radio station,
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Billy,
Yeah, well, that's the way.
What's Billy talking about, Robin?
Yeah.
What's running Stampy? Emily spit at the TV.
Yep. So, no, but I remember you telling me.
Like it was their job to fade me,
Yeah, I remember the day that you walked out. Because I remember I was sitting across from Gary, and you walked in, and you closed the door with Gary, then you left, and then Gary turned to me and goes, "Oh, my God, Billy West just quit." And I went, whoa. It was like someone punched me in the gut.
Oh, man. Well, I had to leave. You know, I mean, it was just like I wasn't going to work there, and not get paid any more money than than the day I walked in.
Yeah. What was that conversation? So you had to go and talk to Mel Karmazin, correct?
Well, it was go talk to Mel, talk to Tom, talk to this one, talk to Franny, talk to Zoe. You know, I mean, it was just like I know that, and the thing is it was clear that they didn't want me. You know what I mean? It was clear that they wanted me to leave, so it was like a way to kind of get me to walk in and go, listen, I'm leaving.
Yeah. And then I remember you said to me, I remember when you moved into your nice house in L.A., you said something really nice, and you said it was I helped you build your confidence to go out to L.A., and you said when you went out there, they welcomed you with open arms.
Well, yeah, it was a big difference. I mean, I did the best I could when I was in New York. I tried every single day. I tried to, blow the doors off the place, and it was not very appreciated. And and the way a situation like that gets framed, it's like you're just another idiot in the cast, So there's no standouts. You can't be 5 times funnier than the guy who gave you a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we all knew how that went.
Well, but the thing is I was trying to do the right thing. I was trying to be, I never had a sense of entitlement. I wasn't looking for glory. I went in there to specifically go fucking crazy, on cue every day. If they gave me the green light, if Howard gave me the thumbs up, or he summoned me to, gave me the gestures, could like go for it, go after, and that's what I did. That's what I went by. There were a few things going on that I just didn't like. I didn't like Tom's. He was like an automaton. He was just like. Never a good word, never nothing. It was just like I'd walk out of there and the place would be in pieces, and he would just go, "Hi, Billy," And it's like a guy. If I were in charge of people, if I was somebody's boss, I'd make damn sure they felt good about working for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
I
100%.
would inspire them. I would always go, "Hey, man, I just want to tell you, please, just you're pouring it on in there, and you're making us look good and all that." No, never, no, not a fucking, not a hello even,
Yeah, no, it's like they always like the atmosphere at K Rock was always keep a good man down. And never let them know that you appreciate them.
I must not have been a good man because I was down.
Yeah.
And then I always felt that silly Ralph was aimed at me. I mean, I don't know if it was Tom or I don't know, but boy, he was always trying to start some shit with me, and I didn't know where it was coming from. One day, he physically injured me in the office. I mean,
Ralph?
Yes.
He physically injured you in the studio.
Yes.
What did he do?
In Gary's office, I was sitting in there, and I was talking to Gary, and Ralph was basically allowed to run wild. He was bulletproof, and he'd be like galloping around the station like fucking Jar Jar Binks. And then he just came galloping into Gary's office and grabbed the top of my head. I just had surgery here. What do you call it? Transplant surgery. And I don't know. He must have known it because he went right for the jugular. He walked in and squeezed the top of my head so hard that I almost passed out. And I got up and I went, "Ralph, you ever do that again, I'll knock you through a fucking wall." And he just says to me, "Well, your head shouldn't have been in the way."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, you think it's funny, huh? I'll mess you up afterwards. How about that?" And he said, "Yeah, you would too. You're a psycho."
But people are commenting that they love your Ralph impression.
Oh, what's to love?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he's so creative. I gotta act like I got a mouthful of guacamole, you know.
Yeah, I'm just starting to remember that you had some disdain for Ralph.
Oh, disdain. I mean, I was fine with him. The guy just was like doing everything he could to like get up my nose, and I don't know if he was sent to do that to me. I don't know. But he acted like a jealous girl. I know that.
Yeah, I was watching one of your old clips when you did Marge Shot and Frank Sinatra and stuff, and there was like a couple of times I'm like, you were really on fire, and it was getting so funny, and Howard was like, yeah, all right, that's enough,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was like, why is he cutting him off? This shit is like on fire right now.
Well, because that's the game, you know. I mean, you you want to, you know. I mean, you have to have control over every element of your show, and if there's a wild card, um, you gotta like frame it a certain way so that the person can't look very good, you know. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's like that's what I got for being a superlative, and the thing was is I wasn't looking to get rich, and I didn't even give a fuck about being famous, to tell you the truth. I never did either. That's something you should know about me.
Well-
Celebrities are not my fucking heroes. They never were. I don't worship celebrity. To think of myself as one is like, yeah, and then what happened? You know, I've never won an award for anything. I've never been nominated, and I simply don't care. All I did was come to bring something to the table. I wanted to contribute, and I wanted to make something better than it would have been had I not been part of it. That was my aim, solely. Everything else just, you know, fell into place. If I made tons of money, that was great, but that was not why I got into the business. I got in because I wanted to output, I wanted to contribute, and I wanted to, you know, I wanted to just, I wanted to be a superlative. You know, it goes way back to being a child. You know, I wrote a book, and it's autobiographical.
What's the name of it?
It's called Voice Versa.
Billy, how do I not know that?
Because we haven't talked.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I haven't spoken to you in about a year. You know what I didn't like what went down over there was when the guy that created Ren and Stimpy, John Kay, who turned out to be just a horrible human being, but I didn't know who he was. And they kind of went behind your back and had him,
Yes.
because you guys had, who could blame you? Like, when everything went down with MTV, and they were like, you could do both voices. What do we need him for? And he got mad at you for staying, which is completely stupid. But I didn't know with that whole situation with John Kay, and that he was being brought in as a mystery guest to fuck with you.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in the bathroom because Gary totally dropped the ball on that, because I was in the bathroom. John Kay was supposed to be kept in isolation.
Yes, and he was in the bathroom.
And I was in the bathroom, and then you walked in the bathroom, and I remember your reaction. And you were just like, oh, great, what are you doing here? And I didn't know that he was supposed to be isolated. I didn't know that he was a mystery guest in there to kind of fuck with you.
Yeah.
And that...
well, good thinking. You know, I mean, he'll rue the day. I mean, he'll regret that day for the rest of his life that he decided to come in there and be a cutie pie, you know?
Yeah, but that was just I saw I was like, why? And then Gary had to take the blunt of that, because he totally ruined it all, because now you're prepared that this jerk off's coming in. But I didn't know how bad the situation was between you and him at that time. And for them to do that was definitely a big scumbag move.
Well, it goes way back. I mean, I worked in 1988. I did a show called Beanie and Cecil, and John Kay was the animator on that show. He was not the producer. It was ABC Television. I was still living in Boston, and so I got the role of doing Cecil, the C6 Sea Serpent, and it was a reboot of an old cartoon from the 60s that I used to watch when I was a kid. And, and I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. It was my first cartoon, and, and it lasted about 5 episodes, because John Kay, he kept putting stuff into the show that no one agreed to, and he was just difficult to work with. And and luckily I wasn't being voice directed by him because he had a habit of trashing actors, just trashing them. I mean, like beating them down to a pulp, and over nothing. I mean, it was just like it was high drama over nothing. And the thing is the way I grew up, I was the whipping boy in my house. I had a psycho father, drunk, crazy, and every day I took my punch in the jaw or smack in the head or kick in the ass. Every single day I got beat on. And so I was tailor-made for abuse, and so I tried, no matter what was being asked of me, I would bend over backwards to accomplish it, to do it, when everybody else would have just said, fuck this, I'm out of here. And it spilled over to the radio show, too. It's like, kind of built for, being mistreated, and, and I'm not crying. I mean, I think it's kind of funny that we're sitting here talking about ancient history.
Yeah, well, there's a couple.
Matter.
There's people here that that are big fans of yours. Peanut Butter 66 said that Doug meant the world to him as a child, and we have things. We got people coming on that want to ask a couple of questions.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, but you get what I'm saying? It's like this would be like if 30 years ago you and I were on the radio and we were talking about the Marx Brothers, as if it was going on, and it happened 30 years earlier than when we were sitting there. It happened before we were born. You know what I mean? And it's like, when did that become so important? I don't even know. Why? Because they play it all the time?
I don't know. Ryan A wants to know, can Billy talk about the Jackie Puppet and Jimson weed?
Jesus, I don't remember anything about it. I really don't. I mean, I know about the Jackie Puppet, who would tell jokes, and he was venomous. And the thing is you could never win with a Jackie Puppet because all he did was laugh at you.
Yeah.
When somebody's laughing at you, you can throw all the punches you want at them. They're just going to sit there and go.
I remember how relentless you were with Conan O'Brien, because he came in that day and he was so nervous because Howard was bashing the crap out of him for like months on end. And I don't know if you remember, but he was nervous. In K-Rock, we had this really like crappy jock lounge, and it was like just the cheapest furniture you could possibly get. But probably the most expensive thing is it looked like a mini surfboard, a marble table. It was the top was marble, like a surfboard, and it was just on two like cans of it was just really cheesy. And Conan was so nervous that he put his feet up on the marble table, but on the very end, and the marble table stood straight up, fell over, broke into a million pieces just as Tom Chiasano walked by.
Oh boy!
And I ran into the studio because Tom started yelling at him. Like it was some expensive thing. You broke our table, and Conan felt.
Now we're gonna be out $28.
Yeah, and then Conan, then I ran to the studio and said, Tom's yelling at Conan O'Brien right now, and then he comes in, and then you just jumped on him with the Jackie Puppet, and you didn't let him breathe. It was so fucking funny, dude.
Oh, when he walked in, I told him, Conan, oh bye-bye. Conan.
Conan, oh bye-bye, because no one thought he was gonna last, and now did you ever do his show?
Sure, I did.
And did that ever come up?
Yeah, I was a guest. No, it never came up. I was a guest on the show twice. He asked me to come in. I was a guest first, and went on and did my thing. And then a second time they asked me to come back because it was a Halloween special, and they were doing this thing with pictures, but they had like moving mouths. Like they'd have a picture of Dracula and the mouth would move, or they had Frankenstein, and me and a voice guy friend of mine named Jeff Bergman, we were like backstage, and they were filming our mouths talking, and they superimposed it into those photos. So and it was a cute bit. It was it was gimmicky, but it was funny, And but yeah, I mean, I was out doing a lot of stuff, and when it came time to negotiate at the radio station, there was no negotiation. It was just like, talk to the judge.
Anonymous wants to know, can you have Billy tell us the time he told his uncle he was attracted to a black girl in school? He said his uncle looked like he saw a ghost.
Yes. Yes, he did. I was in school in Boston, and it was junior high, and there was a very, very pretty black girl named Pat, and she sat a few rows away, and I just found myself just staring at her and daydreaming, just like every young dickhead in high school, junior high does. And to me, I mean, I was not a racist. I mean, it didn't dawn on me that it would be, people would look down on the fact that I had a crush on a black girl. But my uncle said to me, so you got anything going on in school? Anything going on? You got any LOVE? Get your eye on a girl? And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, Uncle Dick, I do. He goes, oh, yeah? And I said, yeah, she's very beautiful, and she's smart, and I would love to meet her or just at least talk to her, and she's black. And he went, oh, geez. And he was like, look at your nature. Look at the world around us and your nature. Does a bee go out with a fly?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, no, if you're beautiful, you're beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. And it's so funny how everybody was in such a sweat to portray me as like some kind of racist because of stuff they heard on the radio. It was the farthest thing from the truth.
Do you think that Triumph the insult comic dog was a ripoff from you?
I really don't know. I have nothing but respect for that guy. I think he's a genius. And, and I love that he has balls because I saw him. I've been in places where he's come there with the puppet and just gone crazy on people. And I said, this guy's got balls. This guy's my hero. And I loved anybody like that. That's why I liked Howard. He just, he was fearless. Gilbert.
Oh, man. You and Gilbert,
Gilbert
when you guys were on, and either together or separate, that's when the phones really went crazy because people just call up just hysterical laughing. They couldn't even get like a question or what they were calling about because it was just mayhem and like radio gold. Like what a time in life to be able to, like for me as a kid, to be part of that and watch two of the greatest ever. Go at it back and forth and just I can't believe Gilbert passed away.
Yeah, I know. I was very shook up by that because, I was friends with him and he used to have me on his show all the time and he got me. There was none of this trying to act like what are you talking about? Like pretending that I was talking and saying stuff, but no one understood what I was saying. That was the act from the radio show. I don't understand what Billy's saying, Robin. Do you? What's Billy talking about, Robin? It was always like I always felt like I was meant to feel like an idiot that had no right to speak.
Yeah, no,
I minded terribly. I wouldn't. I still don't mind. I mean, that was the act. That was the wrestling ring. But if I had gotten paid, a living wage and I didn't have to sweat it in New York City, I had to take all these outside gigs, because I was having a hard time. When I first moved to New York, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I lived in the ass end of Chinatown. I lived in the Lower East Side. And I was working at a radio station that was, I thought this was the big time. When I come to New York and I go, oh, fuck, this is the big time. Holy moly, you know. And then I realized that New York radio was so mediocre compared to a lot of local markets. They weren't big in audience, but there was nothing special going on. You know, you had these old chestnuts like Imus, you know, sitting there just, you know, and just on autopilot for years. And then there's these Scott and Todds, about nothing. And the only thing real going on was at that station at K-Rock was Howard. You know, there was something, I said, this is something special. This is like, no one can compete with this.
You came in from Boston, right? You were a BCN guy?
Yes, I was.
And now, Mel Karmazin was your boss there in BCN?
Yes, he came along later. There were a couple of other owners. It was Infinity Broadcasting, and it was also at one point called Hemisphere. And then they sold it, and Mel came from sales. He was not like a general manager at a radio station. He was a hot sales guy, you know, head of the sales department. I think it was WNEW maybe. And he worked with a guy named Mike Kakianis. I met some of those guys when I first came to New York. They were asking me, hey, you know, you think you might want to work here and stuff. And I didn't know. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But I did ask Mel. I said, Mel, I want to move to New York. And he said, well, I'll set something up. He said, I'll talk to Howard and see if he can use you, you know. And I said, that'll be good because I got to move, you know. I mean, I was newly sober in 1985, and I had just done a cartoon show in Los Angeles. And when I came back, I just said, I've done everything that I want to do in this town. And believe me, Boston was very, very good to me. I loved everybody. I was from there, even though I was born in Detroit, Michigan, but I grew up in Boston. And, you know, and it was time to leave. And so Mel, you know, told Howard about me. And so, you know, they knew when I came there, I got a job. I was working in production when I first went to K-Rock.
Well, didn't something happen with you and Mel's desk or something?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, that was a million years ago.
Okay. No, I didn't know if you could talk about it, but if you don't want to, yeah. Well, Mel was quite the fucking character.
Yeah, well, I loved Mel. I always loved the guy. Always. You know, there's a lot of people that just didn't like him or couldn't do business with him or anything, but I really, really liked him. Always.
You have any good Sam Kinison stories?
Let's see.
Did you get that party with him at all? Now, I know you didn't party. I'm saying not like the way he partied, because I know you've been on the straight and narrow for a long time. But did you ever get to hang out with him?
Well, I was in Boston, and I was drinking and doing coke, and I was a mess. I was a terror. And there was a roast for a local DJ at a club called The Paradise, and it was in Boston, and the place was mobbed, you know, and the dais had Steven Tyler and Peter Wolf and all these like local guys that became you know, historic music figures. And they were, you know, and they were still kicking ass and everything. So they're on there, and then there's me, and there's a comedian, a friend of mine named Lenny Clark, who was the MC. And I was so loaded, and I had notes, and I was going to go up, and I was going to roast the disc jockey. And his name was Mark Perrino.
Mark Perrino, I remember Mark Perrino.
Yeah, and I got up there, and I didn't know what planet I was on. And I'm talking about the mafia behind the walls listening and telling the audience, shut up, it's the mafia's listening. And, you know, just like insane. And then there was a gossip columnist in the audience, and I saw her, and I loved her, but I hated her because she was like an old witch, you know, and wrote petty things about people. You know, she was, you know, a little gossip columnist. And I said, "Oh, it's I'm trying to remember her name, Norma Nathan." I said, "Oh, look, Norma. Hi, Norma." And I said, "I got, I don't know if you have anything to write about tomorrow, but I took off my pants. I just dropped my pants down to my ankles, and I didn't wear underwear, and I did a lighthouse. I did like a 360
Oh.
to make sure everybody got a good look." And the place went shithouse. The place went bedlam. And that was it. I was done. And then I heard about it the next day, and everybody said, "Oh, Billy,
Oh.
bad dog." And I used to get angry. I used to go, "You know what? Why don't you just shut up? You know what? If it wasn't for me, you guys would have nothing to talk about half the time." I was just like trying to turn everything around on everybody like a typical alcoholic does. And but anyway, Mark Perreno was friends with Sam Kinison in those days. And Mark had a tape of that roast. And he used to show it to people that would come over the house. So many, many, many years later, my friend, a great voice guy, legend, Maurice LaMarche, did Pinky and the Brain. He works with me on Futurama. He does Morbo and Kiff, and we've been working together for, 30 years almost on different projects. And I was telling him about this roast, and he goes, wait a minute. Was this in Boston? And it was for a disc jockey? And you had to deliver a speech? And I said, yeah. He said, oh my God, that was you. You know what? Sam Kinison saw a tape of that roast, and it so affected him that he told my friend Maurice LaMarche about it. Maurice was his sponsor in AA. And Maurice told me, Sam was going crazy. He said, Mo, you got to see this guy. Mo, this guy is my fucking idol. He said, oh my God, you think I'm crazy? Oh my God, you should see this guy. So Sam Kinison was going on and on and on about what I did.
Do you think Mark Parento just kept showing that tape so he could see your penis?
Who knows?
Yeah, I didn't know what happened with Mark, but when he moved to New York and he started DJing here, I became like friendly with him with another friend of mine. And he would be like, I thought he was kidding around when he said, okay, I thought he was like being sarcastic. He was like, okay, you guys have to go now. I have a date with a 15-year-old Filipino boy. And we were like, ah, ha, ha, ha. And then it turns out he really was having a date with a 15-year-old Filipino boy.
I'm beginning to think in this world that 1 in every 4 persons is a pedophile.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
No, I mean, it's like, honest to God, it's epidemic.
Well, either that, it was just there and no one really talked about it. Like, how long before the Catholic priest scandal came out when it was not just years, it was decades upon decades of, pedophilia. Like, if you wanted to be a pedophilia, just go to the Catholic Church, become a priest.
That's right. Try 1,000 years it went on.
Yeah.
And it was baked into the cake. And what I love is it's such a sin, It's like they rail against that and trying to, tell people how to live their lives and, sexually make this wrong and that wrong. And, you can't live in glass houses, which they always did. But what I love is, I had religion shoved down my throat as a kid. I was an altar boy, and the Holy Mass was said in Latin. It wasn't even in English. No one even knew what anyone was saying. And I knew the Mass in Latin. And, I questioned everything. I thought everything was just so silly. It was like Grimm's fairy tales. And I used to get a lot of shit. If you questioned stuff, like, what do you mean they turned into pillars of salt? And what do you mean they had tongues of fire over their head? Everyone in the Bible is on an acid trip.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense. And I was 10 years old, and I knew in my heart of hearts that everybody was full of shit. I just did. Adults were full of shit, and I was right because I became an adult, and I was full of shit.
Yeah. Now, some people want to know, do you have a favorite character?
I don't have a favorite character. I just always felt like I loved every single one of them, um, with all my heart and soul, because I was allowed to create something. People would get together and they would develop an idea, and a committee of people would work on stuff and flesh it out, and then the last stop on the bus would be to go and talk to the guy who's going to do the voice, and you were the person that was going to bring it to life for them. It's quite an honor. It started with Nickelodeon, and it's funny, you had a guy on there that Doug was probably his whole childhood, and I think it's adorable. I thought it was a very sweet show, and but they're 30 years older now, so you never know how they're going to turn out. It's like, when I was growing up, it was like the bad kid who always became, dead or in jail or a cop, and the good kid became like, the local, assistant governor, or, he'd be run for politics, or he'd be a pillar of the community. So 30 years later, it's like, dear Journal, today I blew up a courthouse. And you see him in court, and it's Judge Roger Klotz. Order in the court. Oh, look who it is. You're funny, you loser. I knew I was going to see you in here one day, Funny. Oh, yeah, Funny. Blowing up courthouses, huh? You're going to jail. You're going to be somebody's bitch in jail, Funny. That's right, Funny. Every night. Oh, no.
Anonymous wants to know, do you think that animators like Mike Judge, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, and Seth MacFarlane should voice their own characters or default to voice talent?
Well, they created something unique and original. Sometimes, I've heard cartoons where somebody decides to do the voice, and it's just such a non-statement. You know what I mean? There's just like the ego gets in the way, and every kid that came up that wanted to be an animator, Seth MacFarlane was their idol, and it's like, no, I want to do all the voices, I want to do all the animation. And some people don't know that they get in their own way because there's nothing special about what they're doing vocally. And, but that's fine. Mike Judge had a definite idea of what he wanted to do, and he pulled it off. It was like he committed to it. All of his characters he committed to, and I enjoyed it very much. Sometimes non-voices become really, really popular, like Rick and Morty. They might as well have gotten my plumber to do the two characters, They're not like, there's nothing super special about either one of them.
I tried to watch that, and I just couldn't get into it.
Morty, come on, Morty, just get out of here. They always got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. No, we got to get out of here. And, I never could follow it. I know that people love it and everything, but it wasn't for me.
I don't get it.
That guy was another one who had sex troubles with workers, and a lot of these guys at Nickelodeon had troubles. Dan Schneider,
Did you get a lot of swag from when you did Space Jam? Did you get like your own pair of sneakers from Nike or anything like that?
No, I didn't get a pair of sneakers. I got a bag full of like Space Jam stuff, like figures. I think I actually had a basketball, like an official NBA basketball that had the logo on it and everything. Yeah, I still have tons of. I have stuff from everything I ever worked on, and it's in a warehouse, and it's filled to the ceiling with stuff because I've been working for 45 years, But I was gonna say this. yeah, the cartoon, the state of affairs with cartoons. I don't know where it's going. I just know that I keep coming to work till he tell me don't come in anymore.
What's the
Um,
latest Billy West project going on?
well, Futurama is still going on. It's on Hulu, and and I've been doing those characters for a long time. Like, shut up and take my money. Greetings from the year 3000. It still sucks. Yeah. Who needs courage when you have a gun? Everybody go take a nap. Improve the quality of life around here, won't you, eh? And someone bring me a sandwich, because I could eat. Zoidberg could always eat.
How do you,
Funny.
I can't believe that the Zoidberg's voice is just like one. It's so out there. I can't even imagine trying to do that voice. How does that Zoidberg come about?
Well, it's really old school. Like, there was a couple of old time comedians, and one of them came out of Yiddish theater. His name was Lou Jacoby, and he was the guy in the movie Arthur that leaned into Dudley Moore and said, "What's it like to have all that money?" And then there was another guy. He was in vaudeville before there was television. 12 acts would play all day long at a local theater, starting at like 1 in the afternoon and go till 8 o'clock at night. And people could just come in off the street and catch jugglers and singers and dancers and comedians. That's where the Stooges came from. That's where the Marx Brothers came from. There was no TV. And they hadn't made it into movies yet, those guys. So they were playing live shows all day and night. And there was an MC, a comedian named George Jessel. And he had kind of a marble mouth. He goes, "You know the definition of a smart ass? A fellow that can sit on an ice cream cone and tell you what flavor it is." And so I combined him and Lou Jacoby. I kind of super collided them together so I could get the voice that I was kind of looking for this Zoidberg character. And, that's where stuff comes from. It depends on what you know, like what your knowledge of characters from the old days. It comes in handy to understand them and why they were funny, and and if they sounded funny, all the better for basing voices on. I'm still doing commercials.
I was talking about earlier, right before you came on, about how I was at the party that you had at your house back in the day, and J.K. Simmons was there, and
yeah.
that's what he was just starting out on Oz, and Oz
right.
show just started to blow up, and I remember being at I was just literally talking about the show with some people the night before I came to your party, and then I saw JK there, and you were like, "Oh, come over and meet him. He's a yellow M&M." And I was like,
right.
"What?" And then JK told me about how the animators made a special cartoon for him where the yellow M&M was burning an M into the red M&M's ass, because that's what his character did on Oz.
I know.
Which is great. Are you still in touch with JK? Is he still doing the yellow M&M?
Oh, sure. Yeah, he's a real journeyman. I mean, this is a guy, like when I first met him 35 years ago in New York, when we first started working together, I said, this guy he's going to be a national treasure. I knew. Some people just have a light around him, And I began to look at his work and see different things that he was doing, and I said, boy, oh boy, he never disappoints. And I was proud to know him, and I was proud to work with him. And then he won an Oscar for the movie Whiplash. And 2 days later, he's in the studio with me doing M&M's commercials. That's a journeyman.
Yeah.
A journeyman.
And he's a hell of a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. But all he ever wanted to do was work. And that's what he does, he's selling insurance on the Notre Dame Cathedral fire. Seen it? Covered it. And it's just so funny. He wins that Oscar, he was the man of the hour. He's holding the thing, and they're interviewing him at the backstage. And they said, "So, how's it feel? You know, you probably waited a long time." And he said, "Oh yeah, feels good. He goes, but I get to work with Billy West."
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's so cool.
Yeah, this is okay, but I get to work with Billy.
So what's the deal?
A very sweet guy.
What's the deal with the book?
What's that?
Your book?
Yes, coming out on July 14th, and it's autobiographical, so I cover everything. But people would be shocked, you know, the kind of childhood I had. It was hellish, and no one would ever believe the stuff that happened to me. Before I was 10 years old, I went through things that most people never in a lifetime would go through. You know, I was physically abused. I was sexually molested twice before I was 10 years old.
Oh, my God.
By two different sexes. And so it was no fun. Let's put it that way. It was no fun growing up, and I was on the spectrum, except there was no word for autism back in the 1950s, and nothing made sense to me. I couldn't get my mind around anything. I could not understand anything, and plus I was being physically pounded on by my father all the time, who was a crazy and a drunk, and but the thing is a lot of stuff goes on. I had all these gifts, which it turns out that autistic people have storage rooms full of gifts and ideas, and they're locked up upstairs. They can't express them. I couldn't express myself, and then I started to break loose at one point, just like the old Italian lady up the street called me a gacchieron,
Yeah.
which means talking machine.
Yeah, I didn't have it like you know, my mom, you know, took me to task, you know, as a kid. But you know, 9 out of 10 times I probably deserved it. But you know, I did go to my mother at some point and ask her, like, "Mom, I don't understand. How the hell could you just smash around a little 6-year-old kid like that? You know, like, you know, how could you do that, Mom?" And she has no recollection of it. She goes, "Oh, stop! You're being dramatic."
Oh yeah, my mom did the same thing, but my mom wasn't terribly abusive to me or anything. She just wasn't. It was like she was the one that I could go to when the world was beating me up, and
No.
I'd sit with her and talk with her. She was, you know, she instilled in me an unerodable core. Even though later I became a drunk and a crazy and in and out of trouble and a druggie, you know, I was a musician. When I got out of high school, I went to music school, Berkeley Music School in Boston for about a semester, and I said, this blows. I want to be playing music. So I was in a band, and I went on the road, and I played everywhere. And that's the only life that I knew, but it was also full of craziness and drinking and partying, and you know, it was like I was asking for more trouble in my life. You know, I just never figured out what life was like when I wasn't in trouble. I think that I would get restless if something bad wasn't going on, or I wasn't messing up somehow. You know, it's the only way that I had lived for so long. And you know, and I finally in 1985 at BCN, they just said, you got to go in. They sent me to rehab. I was wrecking cars, you know. You know, back in those days, there were no computers, so you could fuck up in one town, crack up a car, get arrested, and let you go, and then you could get behind the wheel of another car and fuck up in another town, and they couldn't interface, they couldn't put things together, you know, they couldn't connect the dots. And then one day, with the advent of computers, they press a button and it spits out everything, and one court said, "Listen, you're going to jail." So I had to go to jail for like that a week or two. No, 2 weeks. At a pissy, smelly old Bastille in Boston called the Charles Street Jail. And, I remember sitting in there and I was just stopped dead. It was the first time in my adult life that I was sober. And I had to do a lot of thinking,
Yeah.
And when I got out of there, I decided that I was going to concentrate on work. I was going to clean up, clean myself up, get, better appearance. I didn't want to look like a fruit peddler,
Well, Anonymous says that everybody loves you, and whatever it is, it still made you to be you.
Well, I think he's right. I agree with that because in other words, we wouldn't, if one thing was any different in your life, one stupid little thing that you did different, or I did different, or this happened or it didn't happen, it had to go the way it went. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be sitting here speaking right now. We wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation if one thing was different.
We have a question from Bob Inc., Billy, a $5 question.
$5 question.
$5 question. Chat.
Mark down from 20.
Yeah, Chat GPT ranks Billy, Mel Blanc, and Frank Welker as the top 3 voice artists of all time. What advice would you give aspiring voice actors?
Don't listen to Chat GPT.
Yeah.
They lie.
Are you on that at all?
I'm honored to be in the company of Mel Blanc, first of all. Frank Welker is the Mac Daddy. Frank Welker is a friend of mine. I've known the guy for 35 years. I adore him. I'm in awe of his talent. I respect my peers like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I have such respect. And they're the best actors. I mean, voice actors. I know voice actors that can pitch circles around movie actors and stage actors. They're just better actors. And yet they never will get credit for being great actors. They're just silly voice people. But I understand the craft, and I have a healthy respect for my peers and for the craft. But that's nice of Chat GPT to say that. Nice. I'll have to write them a letter. Dear Chat GPT.
Yeah. Write me a letter thanking you.
How do you spell GPT? Oh, okay.
Yeah. What would some of your characters say, like Marge Schott or Larry Fine, say about the current world that we live in?
A current world that we live in?
Well, just the current atmosphere of how the world's changed with computers and Chat GTP or whatever that is, and how would one of your characters relate to what was going on in this technological crazy world we live in right now?
Hey Mo, did you hear about AI? Yeah, AI hate you.
And then Nick from Boston.
Mo, AI, this AI art is amazing. Abraham Lincoln has 9 fingers.
I'm sorry, but I was looking up some of the old stuff. 2 of my favorite bits are a Woodstock Minute with Larry Fine, and Frank Sinatra's got Alzheimer's and he's singing the classics. And 2 of my favorite, the one favorite line from a Woodstock Minute, and I don't know where this came from, but now get out of here before I take an axe handle to your colon. I don't know where that came from. And the last
Norris line.
Oh, and the last scene in Frank Sinatra is "Now get out of here before I have my legs broken."
That was a Jackie line.
Oh my God, those are like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To tell you the truth, I can't remember when I started forgetting.
I say that all the time, and no one understands where it's coming from. But I will tell you this:
Who cares?
it gets a laugh. Oh no, but people, it's a very true statement. I go, to tell you the truth, I can't remember when I started forgetting.
But that's the genius of Jackie Martling. Just stuff like that would just come out of him, And I was I was in awe of him. I was in awe of Fred. Um, Fred was a gentleman. That's what I liked about him the most, is that he was a gentleman. And it was just, it was a good working situation. It was the stuff outside of that room that used to get up my nose.
Yeah, that was just like a moment in time. I was just so lucky to be involved in that.
Um, I mean, I never listened to the show. The day I walked out of there, I had never heard the show after that. So I have no idea who's there, who ain't there, what happened, who did what. I have no idea. I'm sure the comedic rhythms are all different from what I remember. But, I mean, people are always like, you remember when you did this, remember when you did that? And I'm like, barely. I mean, like I said, it's like talking about ancient Egypt or something.
Yeah. You never really had a problem with John on the show, did you?
On the show, no.
No, okay. No, I don't remember you and John ever having a riff, and then like, people here are just trying to like make it out that there was some type of riff between you and John, and I didn't think that
Why
was
do
the
they
case.
do that? Do you want me to tell them yes so they'll all be happy?
Oh yeah, make something up.
Yeah, okay. One day I told them that I would. No, I don't know.
I know. I wouldn't want you to because I know that's not your nature.
No, but the thing is like, life isn't good enough for people. Like, what happens, good, bad, or indifferent, ain't good enough. Someone's got to turn it into something else so they can enjoy it more. And it's usually like a bunch of shit that they made up that they wish was true. So they'd have something to talk about it. To me, it just says, how fucking bored are you that you got to pretend that this one's fighting with that one, and it's like, to make life interesting? Jesus, go get laid. Go have a cocktail.
I think you just explained the Dabbleverse.
That's exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, these people, there's some of these people, they just want to start fights. They're all looking for the attention. I did a show. I've been doing this show for like a long time before, like, even I brought it up on Friday night. I had my friend that I first started doing this when internet radio was like something that no one knew about and no one
Right.
thought it was going to even be something that would turn out to be competitive.
Yes.
Then I started doing it again out of one of the offices that I worked at with Bright Shot, and then then I started doing it again when I had a studio, and then when COVID hit, everybody started doing podcasts because they were bored. They couldn't go out. You needed something to
Right.
do, and the technology got to the point where it wasn't. Everybody was on a Zoom call, and then they developed the software like StreamYard that made it easy for anybody to pick up a microphone and get
Easy
a
for everybody but you. I couldn't get on.
yeah. So, but I got to say thank you very much for anybody that has a super tip that they want to come in. Billy's only, I don't want to, his time is very valuable.
Yeah, right.
And I don't want to keep him too long, but I would love to do a part 2 with you, Billy, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I will. When my book comes out, I think people will really enjoy it. I mean, it's not just tragedy. I mean, that's only like the first part of my life. I had a very rough start, but I have these stories that happened to me along the way that no one would ever believe. That just wild, almost impossible situations. I went to Peru with some friends of mine once, and for a drug vacation, and we almost didn't come back, but we spent 6-7 days there, and I almost got killed.
Whoa, what do you mean you almost got killed?
Oh, I almost got shot to death down there.
For what? Doing your Marge Shot impression?
Yeah, sure. All around.
You got real again?
We were just going to go down and have a good time, because it's like cocaine was $11 a gram and it was 99% pure, and sign me up. And we almost didn't come back. It just turned out to be nightmarish. And I was the ugly American. But I mean, I talk about all these things that happened to me when I was down there. They're like impossible situations, but true. And plus, the book is very funny because I write the way I talk, and I think people will really enjoy it.
I can't wait for that. That sounds like it could be a movie, not just a book.
I'm recording it in a week or so from now. I'm going to record the audiobook, and which will be fun because then I can do all the stuff I do.
Yeah, no, but does it talk about? Do you get into the evolution of Billy West into the voice world?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
the Billy verse.
Yeah, not the Dabbleverse, the Billyverse. In a world.
That's the Billy verse.
Yeah.
The Billy verse goes from here. I'm cranky. I need a nap.
Yeah, you know what you should.
That's the Billy verse.
You should. Yeah, someone said, imagine Peanut Butter 66 and imagine Billy's Audible book. That's gonna be the big one right there.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and and I want people to know the truth about a lot of things. Like that whole business with John Cristofalusi. I mean, they just try to frame me as being a bad guy, being something that I'm not. And the thing is originally I was supposed to do both voices for that show. He came to me and he said, I got this show, and we went over to Nickelodeon, over to MTV Networks. He came to New York, and we went over there, and he didn't have a tape to play for the women at Nickelodeon that were going to decide whether to give him a show or not, to okay it. And we went in a closet up the hall from Kurt Loder's office. He was the news guy at MTV back then. And we had a tape recorder and a script, and I recorded both voices. And he said, okay. And he went into the meeting. I waited around, and he came out and he said, congratulations, what you just did sold the show. In other words, my characters. And then he decided he was going to do the Ren voice, and I didn't give a fat frog's ass who did what, because I had a job doing cartoon voices, I said, shit, maybe this will rescue me from this wretched radio business,
Yeah.
Get out there in the world. But that's the way it was supposed to be originally, and so I was made out to be this rotten guy who stabbed people in the back, and I had to suffer with that humiliation for 30 years.
How could you not make that decision?
What's that?
I don't understand how you could possibly not make that decision where, you're trying to change your life and you got something that's awesome. And someone else is trying to fuck it up, and then you have to go and step in and do both voices. Why wouldn't you? Like Bob Inc.
I put all these people out of work, which I didn't. I kept 100-odd people in work because I decided to stay with the show. Otherwise, they would have pulled the plug on it. So it was a handful of people. They weren't even union. I was a union guy, These guys didn't even run a union shop, and they were like, what about union? What about sticking together? What about fuck you?
Well, that goes. Someone was saying that it was like crossing the union picket line. It's funny you just said that. Bob Inc. has a $5 question. 100% do an audiobook. Excited to buy it. How do you stay so composed when Ralph clocked you in the head and Stern had you in his crosshairs for hours?
Well, I don't know. I just I didn't want to play on their level. It's why when they brought John Cristofalusi in there, I decided I'm in a room full of narcissists, and there's no winning. So what you do is you shut down, you close your menu, and no one can pick and choose what they're going to take from you if you don't speak, if you don't say anything. And I gray rocked everybody.
Sounds about right to me.
No, you don't. I mean, it's just like, this Ralph business. I mean, it's like a narcissist is somebody who hits you and yells "ow."
Yeah. Believe me, I was married to one.
That's what it was like. That's what it was like being around there, and I just, I feel bad that Howard lost his friend and all that, but
Did you ever like accidentally bump into him somewhere? Like maybe you've been at the same restaurant or anything like that?
who?
Howard.
No,
No?
no, I never saw him after I left. Never.
Yeah. I just
I did see Artie, who
Oh.
I really didn't know, but I saw him in a restaurant in Hollywood like a few years back, like about 10 years ago.
and I love Artie to death. He's like so nice, and I heard recently that he resurfaced a little bit, just poking his head out because he sort of disappeared to I guess because of he's been sober, but I think when he came back initially, he started doing a show from the studio that I was in, and he was going well. But I just think that the temptation's too great just to be out in the public and doing your shit because I think he just needs to be like confined.
Well, that's he has to. He's old enough to know what works and what doesn't work. You have to figure out those things for yourself. Otherwise, you can't survive. You won't be working off your strengths. You'll be fighting whatever demons are still around, and I always, when I met him, I said, yeah, he was so happy to meet me, and I said, listen, when I heard about what was going on with you, I just wished that I could have been around because I had already been through it. I've been there and back with addictions and all that stuff, and I said I probably could have been helpful to you. If I was around, but I wasn't, and I got a good vibe from him. I know that he's a funny guy. I know that he does stand-up, and he's very funny. And I actually was on his podcast once many years ago. I talked to him, and there was a couple of wise guys. I don't know who they were, but they were hanging around. They were like co-hosts or something. But he was the one that I wanted to talk to. The other guys are like, yeah.
Yeah, he always surrounded himself with some like fucked up people. He like when I did his show, he was doing his show from his apartment in New Jersey, and he would be in his room for the whole for like an hour, and then he'd come out and he'd do his show, and then go back in his room for another hour, and then come back out. It was sort of like, okay, like what are we not supposed to think about what you're doing in the room,
Well, he's like a lot of people that are creative and funny, and it comes from a lot of. I think most of it comes from a lot of pain. Otherwise, why would you want to be funny? I used to say that to Gilbert. I used to say, I said, Gilbert, doesn't it suck to be the guy at a gathering, and if some tragedy happens, you're all watching TV, and then you see this horrible story. Suddenly everybody looks at you, Gilbert, for the line, the joke. And I would say, why would anybody want to be funny? It's just like, I don't know. It's a lot of pressure. I mean, with everybody waiting for you to make the remark, or everybody waiting for you to be funny, or if you do say funny things, and then there's people that follow you around and go, "We've heard this before." Okay, good.
Did you ever do stand up, or at least get offered to do stand up?
Very, very briefly. I opened up for George Carlin once.
Oh wow!
Yes.
What was that like?
This was long before Stern, long before I met any of those people. I went to Hampton Beach Casino, and George Carlin was playing, and the radio station sent me up there to MC it, to open up for him. And I went out and did what I thought was funny, this, that, and the other thing. And I went backstage, and we were in the dressing room, and he said, do you do much performing, or much stand-up? And I go, no, George, I hit and run. The radio station sent me up here, and he said, yeah, but, you know, I was listening to what you were doing. It's like, you know, you got the chops, man. And then he gave me his phone number and said to call him, you know, but I never did. I was just too shy to call him. I mean, he was a god. He was one of the greats. And, you know, he wasn't one of my idols because I didn't grow up as a child watching him. I was already an adult when he was starting to make it. And my idols were Sid Caesar and Jonathan Winters, guys like that, who I actually got to work with later on in life. But George Carlin, I made him laugh, though. He tells me a joke, and I looked at him and I went, "That yours?"
Yeah.
He started cracking up laughing. You know how every cheesy comic, if somebody says anything funny, they lean in and go, "That yours?"
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, comics are just some of the most miserable people I've ever met. They might be funny, but that always, like, you know, they're always off the camera or off the microphone. They're just like so sullen and like, you know, like Gilbert would come into the studio and he was like, "Oh, hi, how are you? You know,
Yeah.
nice to see you. This and that." Whoa. And then he'd get on the air and he'd be like Dracula Godfrey and make everybody piss
Yes.
their pants. And then he'd
Yes.
come off and be like, "Oh, all right, I'll see you later."
That was a persona. That was his. He was always putting people on when he was being, okay, you know, like a scared little rabbit.
I had
But that was the persona. I got to know him.
Yeah, I got to go to. We went to dinner. Well, he came to the restaurant that I worked at, this place called Brunelli's, and it was like Wednesday night was like everybody there was like connected. You know what I'm saying? Like mob connected, and so we sat at the table, and I literally like got in his head. I was like, "Don't step on anybody's toes, Gilbert," because he's like, "Why?" Because you wind up in the trunk. These guys, that guy over there, that's Joey the Nose. He just got out of jail from doing 10 years for murdering somebody. That guy over there, that's Gigi the Whale. He did 20 years for keeping his mouth shut during the French Connection. And he looked around and then he realized, holy crap, the whole entire restaurant's full of people that look just like that. And I scared the shit out of him.
Boy, it could have gone either way. I mean, usually that's like putting up a giant neon sign, Gilbert, start insulting the shit out of everybody.
Oh yeah, you know. They tried. This is a true story, Billy. They tried to do comedy, right? And the next week, somebody first of all insulted one of the comics insulted a gay waiter that was there and told him that, "Oh, stop bitching." In 2 months, somebody's going to be stitching your name on a quilt. That didn't go over well. And then the next week, somebody insulted one of the mobster's girlfriends, and he had a gun in his mouth by the end of the night, and that was the end of that was the end of comedy night at Restaurant Brunelli's.
Yeah, so wait a minute. You're doing fucking comedy, right? Is this supposed to be fucking comedy? You're fucking, Jesus fucking Christ. You're gonna get yourself fucking killed.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But I want to thank you again for coming on, Billy. This was like amazing. And your book's coming out July 14th. I'll have you back on before then. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. And you're gonna be on the bestseller list within a couple of weeks.
You think?
I think so, 100%. People are gonna go crazy for your book. I think they'll probably even go crazier.
All your fans and your listeners will enjoy it. I really think they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot for coming on, Billy. I'll stay in touch with you, let you know what's going on. And Billy's book, it was voices. What is it again?
Voice of Versa.
Voice of Versa,
Yes.
and that's coming out July 14th. And we'll have Billy back on before then. And everybody, Billy West, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you. I love you. You know.
I love you too, Billy, so much. You have no idea. Thanks, man.
Okay.
All right, bud.
We got some
Bye.
shitty questions for you if you want.
Okay. Well, that's Billy West, everybody. He had some issues with his computer. Not me tonight, but him. He said the computer wasn't letting him in. He kind of told me that before he came on. He said, you know, I the only thing that works for me is Zoom calls. I'll come on. And I said, well, if you come on, I'll just put you on the phone. Thank you very much, Ryan. I appreciate the kind words. There was a couple of super tips that I don't think were appropriate for Billy, but I didn't get a chance to see them. You can put them up there.
Just did.
I don't, like Billy West is a nice guy. He comes on my show, and I don't necessarily think we should have. Jerry committed perjury by lying on an affidavit for John. What a lowlife. Oh, Jesus. He's putting his own fucking. Thank you, Jacob Shed. You called by lying. Is that true? Did you lie on an affidavit? Is that the
Told
deal?
the truth.
It's totally true?
Well, no.
So Jerry said he told the truth. And another super tip. Anything? By the way, if anybody, I'm trying to understand. You're hearing me breathing. I'm having a really bad asthma attack, or a. I've been holding this in the whole time. Excuse me. I'm having an asthma attack on top of an allergy attack. So can you ask Grillo about Jackie being pals with Epstein? I know nothing about that. I had no idea. I don't know anything about it. Everybody seems to have pictures with the guy, but I don't know if they were pals. Maybe he was in the room. If they did know each other, he's never talked to me about it. So, yeah, I'm choking on gum, Richard Christie. No, I'm. You know how hard it was for me to hold back what's going on in my chest. Someone said something that was very funny, but I said, "How are you out of breath standing still?" When you have a sudden asthma attack right before you go on the air, that's the reason why. But that's pretty funny. We got another super tip coming up. No, not that. I don't want that. Okay, super tip. Ask Grillo if Shuli or Stuttering John is funnier. I'd have to say Shuli, because he does stand-up comedy. But I've heard Shuli, and I laughed. I've heard John and I laughed. But it's like the fifth time someone's asked me that question. He's Shuli's more of a stand-up comic than John. He's done more, I guess. I don't know. He doesn't dabble like John. So nothing personal. I'm unemployed, so what? There are people saying that you're going to dox me. What is he going to do? What's he going to do? I don't understand. But yes, that was Billy West, everybody. He predicted that he wouldn't be able to. The only thing he says he's tried to do this a couple of times, and every time the only thing that he seems to get through to is a Zoom call, and it's not the first time he had it, but he still came on and was really cool. Maybe the next time he'll have things sorted out. We got a super tip coming up. Anonymous, asked Billy if he knows Shuli's producer was a PDF. See, he doesn't know Shuli. There's no way he knows Shuli. I didn't want to bring that up. Like, I would have asked him, but he's going to say, who's Shuli? He doesn't listen to the show. He doesn't really dabble in the verse. And Shuli was so many years. Shuli was after me. So, Billy doesn't listen to the show. He said he doesn't listen to the show. So, we wouldn't know who Shuli was, let alone be able to ask a question about him. Billy is like the rest of Hollywood. I don't think so. He's not. He's down to earth. This is not a public AJ, LOL, primo shit. Thank you very much. Sorry that he couldn't come on camera, but at least he came on anyway. And I apologize for my asthmatic chest problem here. Jacob Shed, Cumia is suing John for defamation. John is dumb. I heard something about that recently. Somebody told me that Cumia is going to sue John for defamation. That must be kind of difficult considering the position that he's in, a public figure, and all the crap that has been said back and forth to each other. Just another way to tie up John's darky Dawkins. I'm bald and proud. I got a nice shaving today. It's real smooth. But that was an AI Billy West. Yes, that was Billy West Chat GPT. Is that how you? I'm dyslexic. It takes forever for me to remember words that are like that together. See why you don't ask Billy that? Jerry won't allow it. No, he put them up. He let me know. I see what's going on. You're not holding back any John questions. He just put up a question about himself. So that he said that he was somebody called him. He said he lied on a deposition, and he didn't. That's what he says. Jerry's censoring us. So are there any? See, I just understand something. Jerry's never done anything bad to me. Okay, that he's actually helped me out, and he's gone out of his way to do it, and he doesn't have to. And there's no way he's getting anything off of me other than just being a nice guy. I didn't want to come. I wanted to try to pay attention to Billy and not have to go back and forth to super chats. And he just happens to live right by me, and he was nice enough to come over. So I don't understand why anybody has some problem with him because he was with John. I don't know. Well, because you were John. Grillo, don't know about Jerry. SJ docks people all the time.
That's bullshit.
Okay, you fooled them, Steve. Why are you putting up the chats over your face? Because I just still haven't. Because my face, you don't need to see my face, first of all. Second of all, any chance I could hide behind something, I'm all about it. No one needs to see this the whole time. So no, it's just the way it's set up. I'm just happy that it worked tonight, and that's all. But it's just a little minor adjustment. There was, I had to. I was trying to get some old Billy clips to pull them up, and I have to go back and forth to all these things. I was gonna try to do that, but it just by the time I realized that, and then Billy was getting the link to it, but every time he clicked onto it, it wasn't letting him. His computer said he was in the room, but he wasn't in the room. So, and I guess it's coming up real soon is Hackamania is around the corner. I guess people are going to start popping up by the end of the week. I'll probably be around, but I don't know if I'm going to actually attend the event. I don't know if I get why people want to go, but I'm not going there. I'll be in the general vicinity. I might have some books available to be signed. If you have one of my books and you want it signed, I will be around signing of books, or I might have a couple of books of me to sell. Man, are you going to Paddock Hackamania?
Fuck no.
What is that?
It's just Hackamania.
Oh, you're not going.
I'm not going.
Yeah, no, I needed help, and I don't have any help, and it's late on a Sunday night, and it's fucking Easter. And guess who came to my fucking rescue? Jerry. So in my book, that's okay with me. You can say what you want about the man. Everybody's got an opinion. But in a pinch, Jerry came through. In my world, that means a lot. Thank you very much, Jerry. So I don't think he's here to sabotage me, because if he wanted to sabotage me, he wouldn't come. And that's that. But on that note, it's almost 10 o'clock here in Las Vegas. It's late everywhere else. Tomorrow, I have Vic Legina, Brian McCarthy this week, Monique this week, and you never know who I can pull out of my ass. So it's going to be another busy week here on Grills After Shock XL. On that note, I'm going to go home and have a couple of cocktails. See, I'm not going to drink on the air. I made that decision. Plus, the studio is not in my house. I don't drink and drive. I promised myself if I had a car, not going to drink and drive. That's not just going to happen. I can do alcohol either way. I can have it or I don't have it. But I don't need to have a drink on the air. I thought you said Monique was a backstabber. No, you people and your made up shit. She never backstabbed me at all. Monique has been a friend for a really long time. We have close personal mutual friends that we share. I did one of her first shows. She used to live up the block from me. Monique has been nothing but very helpful. She just pissed me off because she doesn't know how to return a phone call. She can't pick up the phone. That's what bothers me. I have a big problem with that. You're welcome, ETRY, Earthy THM. But that's Monique is awesome. I happen to like her. She's a very good friend, but she's that good friend that doesn't call you back, and that just irks me. But I have a couple people like that, and they just don't like it. But Nasty Meal, Oscar Electric, Ryan Sharman, she called Radar Online to rat you out. Yes, she did. And I've called her out on that, and that was that. She got me banned from the show. But that was going to happen no matter what anyway. And she did what she had to do. But she Yeah, drinking causes bad decisions. Welcome to my life. I just won't have a bad decision on here. I got enough problems with technology and trying to get this to record properly. Imagine I didn't hit record on this. Yeah, that would be the story for my life. But I hope you enjoyed Billy West telling some stories. He's got his new book come out, Voice Versa, on July 18th. He's going to come back. Hopefully, he'll be able to. I don't. It could be just maybe he just didn't want to be on camera tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some people, they want to do it, but they don't feel like coming on camera. Maybe his hair wasn't done right. I do have some whiskey at home, James. I'll do a shot of Jameson just for you. How's that sound? I'll have some top shelf. I keep a nice bottle of Jameson off to the side. I don't do, but I usually I like just like a big vagina. I like White Claws, and I'll have a couple of White Claws and sit on my deck, smoke a joint, and maybe do a shot of vodka. But I keep the Jameson for guests and people. Oh, I'm out of White Claw, by the way. Yeah, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I don't mind. Skull. That's right, James. And I don't mind. I'm not afraid to. BW is the best. Thanks. You got it. Post tit number one. And Billy West. I hope you're back on. And he's so much. And he's so animated when he does his voices too. I think that's what part of the talent is. When you do the voices, you really have to get your whole body into it. And he fucking does all this crazy shit. He's so amazing to watch and to listen to. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Got a big week ahead of me, so stay tuned. We got some more. I'm gonna be the most clipped man in the world. I don't care. Just thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everybody. Hope you had a great Easter on this day of our Savior's resurrection, if you will. Thank you very much. One more last one. Grillo, what do you think about John threatening to cut you off and add you to his next LOL lawsuit after this one is over? You know what? It would be very apropos for John to do something like that just to make you people happy. Consider my movie review suggestion. Exactly. On that note, good night, everybody. Happy Easter.
Vicky,